Welcome to MaxxEcu Training Part 45. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at working with our launch control programming within our MTune software. Our launch control is used to get consistent launches at the drag strip. If we're naturally aspirated or supercharged, we're going to be setting up our launch control in a very particular manner. If we're turbocharged, we're going to be setting up in a different manner in terms of trying to build boost off the line. I'm going to be covering both examples here in this training tutorial so you know how to set up the launch control based on the application you're working with. Without further wait, let's jump into our video so we can check this out.
Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look at working with programming our launch control within our MaxxEcus. Our launch control is going to allow us to have a consistent and repeatable launch at the drag strip or anytime we want to launch our vehicle from a stationary condition. It's going to hold us at a fixed RPM, which is going to be improving the consistency and the repeatability of our launch. We can actually pull higher G-forces and acceleration rate when we have our launch control proper. And we're going to be taking a look at how to set this up on different applications. So NA, naturally aspirated, supercharged or turbocharged, we'll have a little bit different manner in order to implement the launch control. Let's go in here and take a look at how to set this up. It's actually really simple. There's a lot of little details we need to cover here in the programming and the software, but the nuts and bolts of how this works is super simple. So first thing we want to do is jump over here into our navigation on the side. And we're going to go from our start and work our way down here under Motorsport. Under Motorsport, we have a few options: anti-lag, launch control, rolling launch control, shift cut, and power management. Now, the only thing we're going to be focusing on in this video for setting up our launch control is going to be our actual launch control window here. We do have this other option here, anti-lag. This is a rally style anti-lag. So if you want to build boost when you're lifting between shifts in mid-corner and you don't want the boost to drop off, we would use this rally style anti-lag. This is not going to be an anti-lag to build boost off the line. We can accomplish all of that here in our actual launch control window in the programming. As we turn this on, we're going to be taking a look at some of the configuration details. We'll find that we are not going to be working with anti-lag in conjunction with the launch control. It'll be all handled in the launch control window. We do also have a rolling launch control, which is going to be a rolling anti-lag or a rolling fixed speed that we can keep ourselves at. If you want to do roll races, sometimes we have to start at 60 miles per hour in a timed event. That'll allow you to bring the vehicle up to 60 miles per hour, hold a button, and then as soon as you are ready to start that roll race, you're able to let go of the button. That'll allow you to actually launch and when you're actually driving. So launch control is the option we want to choose when we want to have a fixed RPM to launch at in stationary conditions. So we want to go here and work with this window. All right, so we're going to go into our launch control under Enable Launch Control. Right now it's set to Disable. Let's go here and turn it on. And when we do that, we find a whole bunch of different programming options here that we need to work with. So the first thing I want to go and talk about here is the differences between working with the launch control for a naturally aspirated supercharged engine, so it could be either or, and a turbocharged engine, because the way we're going to be programming and working with the launch control will be different based on the application. When we're naturally aspirated or supercharged, we're not going to be able to build more boost or less boost based on how we program and set up our launch control. When we're dealing with a turbo engine, we can be specific of how we build our boost, and we need to program and work with the launch control in a slightly different manner than we would with a naturally aspirated or supercharged engine. So the first example here I'm going to run through, we have to go a lot of little details here we're going to run through, is going to be assuming that you have a naturally aspirated or supercharged engine where boost isn't going to be a factor. We just need to make sure that the launch RPM is going to be appropriate and how we want it to cut and how it's applied is going to be set up here properly. So let's jump in and take a look at that and kind of look at this first type of example. And we'll work with and take a look at setting up a turbo engine for working with the launch control type function a little bit later in the video. All right, so now we can take a look at our programming options under here. So looking under our Enable Launch Control, we see multi-stage launch. Right now it's set to a single stage, and we can see right down here, this is stage 1. Stage 1 means that this is all the programming details we would have. We can have up to 3 different stages for the launch control. Now, if we take a look here in our drop-down, we can choose these. We see a dual-stage TPS, dual-stage digital input switch, and then 3-stage digital input switch. So we'd have to actually go into our inputs if we wanted to work with a switch type function and set this up under our inputs under a switch type. It could be an analog voltage or it could be a digital. So it could be either or of these. So we have to go and set that up so it knows when we're actually going in and selecting it for that type here, a switched input, either dual or triple stage, 3-stage, it would know to work with that particular switch. Now I'm not going to do that. Now the reason why you might want to do this is that you can actually set your launch control to activate for a burnout limiter and for then a launch control. So if you have a drag vehicle, you want to do your burnout, you don't want to burn out at rev limiter. So if the rev limiter is 10,000 RPM, you'd like to burn out maybe 8,000 RPM. It's much easier on the engine in the burnout box. You could actually go here and set this up so that you would choose your dual stage digital input switch. You could wire a switch in the car. When you go into the burnout box, you could flip the switch on. That'll allow you to do your burnout at a rev limiter. It might be 7,000, 8,000 RPM. If your main limiter is at something like 10,000, it'll be easier on the engine. And then once you go and actually start to stage the vehicle, you would switch the switch off and then would go back and it would work with your stage 1. So when the switch is on, it would go to stage 2. When the switch is off, it would be on stage 1. So it would allow you to have 2 different essentially stages of launch control, one for the burnout and then one for normal launching. Again, we do have the option for triple or 3 stages. I can't personally think of a way to set this up that would work, or an application, I would say, that would work with this. But it gives you the option in the programming flexibility. So we don't really need to, at this point, look at our details here as far as the stages go, because the programming we're going to be talking.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here. And you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.